Welcome back to week 11. I think it's probably week 13 for everybody else, and we are running out of time, so we better get busy here. So let me bring us over here to the ground control panel. Boom, there we go. Pretty bright on my face. So where are we at? Well, we are on the very last class, a set of classes for the documentary video in the YouTube Editor's Master Training. We see our little 100% thing over here. Woohoo, we're all done. And it's just constructed. This is a documentary slash sketch comedy, which made this class really palatable to have it done in documentary format. But it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor and was kind of cute. I enjoyed it anyway. So our beginning, middle, and final passes for getting the edits cleared up, the initial edits of the interviews. Then we add our B-roll and music and color. And then we did some work in Fusion this time around and did a nice graphic towards the end here. I'm going to be sharing that with you. So let's jump in over here on DaVinci Resolve. Now 18.5, some neat new stuff has come in that I can't wait to share with you next semester. Hopefully I'll get my second class, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so here we are on the initial final pass here, and we have gone over here to the interviews. His interview is about 6 minutes long. Her interview is about a minute long. So we've gone through this and done the basics here. We've organized everything. We've edited out all the mistakes. We've put it together for time. This is now our foundation of what we were going to build on. We put a couple of interesting edits in here and one interesting repair. So let me start with the interesting edits here. We're going to come over here. This is a J edit. And remember, this is a whole thing. It's a tongue-in-cheek joke about a guy going out to get the mail. I'm going to play this with the sound on this J cut that you
especially from just last year.
I don't know what he's training for. I really just want him to get the mail.
I've actually started looking into one of those chambers.
Hilarious. I really like the way that this whole thing is kind of coming together here. So let me turn the sound off, and I'm going to come back over here to this. And this little off-colored olive green one, as opposed to him the teal and her the kind of mauve color, whatever you want to call it. Why is this special? Well, it's special because first off, we're going to highlight it and open it up here. Let's take a close look at this. And let's move this up here so we can see what's going on. So when he kept messing up this one same shot, he found that he was able to reconstruct this shot with another piece of video. And one of the things that the reconstructed shot didn't have was any of the background noise. For example, if you come over here, oops, excuse me. So when we come over here and listen to this one here real quick, and listen to the background noise.
If this kind of thing didn't exist, I would probably end up in.
Do it one more time, soloed. Okay, so maybe that was a bad idea. At any rate, if you listen, you can hear the air of the cars running around him. You can hear the birds tweeting in the background. It's just the microphone being outdoors. No big deal. But if you listen to this,
My name is Barry. I'm 39 years old.
It has it, and it only has it because he put it there. And let me show you how this happened. So if we come and sneak in and have a better look at this, he edited the tracks out of the other ones and just the background noise. He found some sound that was happening that there was no dialogue on monologue, and chopped those out, put them underneath here, did a small crossfade on it, maybe a little bit too much crossfade, but it works. And when we play this now,
My name is Barry. I'm 39 years old.
we got the tweeting birds, we got the air sound, and I just thought that was a really salient detail for me later. So let me Control Z out of this and come back to the whole thing. So what else have we got to say about this before I move on? Okay, we've organized. We've got everything the way we want it, good foundation. We don't have any more gaps to fix, at least not in the uh, at least not in the foundation of where we're at. This is the interviews only, not the B-roll, and this is what we're going to build our story on. Okay, so let's go over here to this timeline. Click on that. Here you'll notice that there's been a lot of B-roll added. The same thing here. We have got no special cuts. Save those that go over some of the other cuts that you can see he kind of does a little bit of a J cut here, kind of here too. He bookends it, her second part of her interview nicely. Maybe that's worth watching. I think both. Let's watch this one right here, and how he kind of covered up part of that J cut, so it's almost a double J here. And I think this was really nicely done.
Progress, especially from just last year.
I don't know what he's training for. I really just want him to get the mail.
I've actually started looking into one of those chambers that the climbers use to change their blood.
Okay, brilliant cut. That's something I have learned a lot from, and I'm going to be using in the future. Why does that tell the story better? Well, it tells the story better for me because you're engaged on more than just one level. It's not something that's just two-dimensional and it's flat. I got literally 3 shots at a time going there, and yeah, it seems more human. So does this, and I'm going to show you that. This is kind of a J and an L over the B-roll here from part of her interview. Just a touch, but it frames it out nicely.
I think it'd be a good thing.
He gets it very promptly every day. We never miss a day. I can always count on him to get it.
I think this is going to be a good one.
Classic documentary mode where the person in the background who is shot also in focus comments in on somebody else's interview. That's rude. So it's comedy. It's rude, but it's still a legitimate documentary thing that you see happen all the time where somebody has to kind of jump into their shot. So that's a couple of neat cuts from that. There's not a lot to say about the B-roll other than this. And so I'm going to come, let me come up here first. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to start the B-roll, and I'm going to come down here to the cut page. And I'm going to show you how he did all of this. So on the cut page, you can highlight a video. I think you can actually highlight all of them. Do that real quick. You can come over here and say source tape. Click on that. And then over here on this side of things, let's bring that out a little bit. This source tape is everything, all of your B-roll, because it was in an individual B-roll folder. So this is all the B-roll. So all you had to do to sort this out was to come through here, and as you went through all your clips, sorry, I got to turn that sound up. Irritating. Over here, that page. So source tape again. So as you're wheeling through here, you can just hit your in and out, and then your buttons here, which is mostly what he did was just simply place everything on top, so that down here you had just a ton of nonsense. It was chaos. Definitely not my cup of tea, and that's one of the things that's happened here with this DaVinci class this semester, is I've started to figure out what things are my cup of tea and what things aren't. I've started to do some custom edits on my keyboard here, like the B key is just a chop straight through everything, rather than having to do, a multiple, Control Alt Delete key stand on my toe in order to get a simple. Watch the bottom, for example, just one key, boom. I've just put a cut in it. That's a very handy thing, and it really makes good use of the keyboard itself, especially when I'm using the B key and the jog shuttle cut, move it where it needs to go, trim in, trim out, much faster than anything that you could ever do with just a plain old keyboard. Super important to me. So anyway, back to where we were. He was able to organize all of his B-roll that he brought down, and there was many cuts. I want to say probably 25 or 30. Once he did kind of get them organized, we wind up back over here with this. And so this is nice. There's no fancy cuts, save only what he's put on top. Okay, so that is organizing, and our second pass on our cuts. Our third pass through things is going to be getting rid of this here. This was just simply I don't know if I said this already or not. I've done this take on this so many times. This is just an adjustment layer that he was able to label. Didn't make any difference. It was just there with a nice big label, kind of telling us what each one of these sections of clips were for. We don't need those anymore, thankfully, because we're coming down here to edit us up some music. So we're on to the third pass now, music and color. We used 2 songs, and let me just move this up and out of the way. Nothing fancy. Some important things that I thought were cool. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Get their sound off. Good. So there in the beginning when he's coming out of the closet or not the hallway, and he's got his shoes in hand here. Come on. Okay, so he's coming out of the hallway. He's got his shoes in hand there. And the music doesn't kind of come to being. You can tell by the waveform right here that the music kind of kicks in right about there, but he could have done a nicer job on that, I think. Let's play it and see if you think I'm right. Okay.
The arch support that I'm used to. These are my bread and butter. Bread, butter. And sometimes if I'm feeling, a little adventurous, I'll go with the flip flops. It's something I've always been in.
So we J-cutted that there again too. And the music kicks in during that cut. I like it. It makes sense. So here's this as well. This bit of music. We've seen this before. He just chopped it on either side of the graphics and raised the volume.
I'm a postal retrieval enthusiast.
Yeah, we should probably play that. I never.
My name is Barry. I'm 39 years old, and I am a postal retrieval enthusiast.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to look at as far as the music goes, no fancy cuts and cuts over. Let me trim that a little bit here. Play that. Let me see if I like that better.
They don't have the arch support that I'm used to. These are my bread and butter. Bread, butter. And sometimes if I'm feeling...
Yeah, I like that better. I don't think it's a good idea to ever shock anybody with music under most conditions. I like to do it sometimes when I have a hard jump cut from one really different universe to another, where I match a loud downbeat of the music onto it. Boom, and there's the jump cut. I think that's kind of cool. Okay, so let me just turn that off a second. We'll come down here. So this is all one song through there. And then as things change and we get ready to, this is kind of his parting shot. The music changes. And this last bit of him out here coughing and wheezing and yelling out is the place for the YouTube end cards. So he's got 10 or 20 seconds. I think you get 20 seconds for end cards max. So that's 220. Yeah, so probably the tail end of this here, the last 20 seconds of that would be YouTube end cards. And he did taper this off a little bit. Again, this is something, since that was, oops, let me undo that. Tapering this out to black. Come on, guys. There we go. Tapering that out to black and tapering this down here. Both would have been a good idea if you're putting cards up. The cards will stay all the way through with a nice gentle end. Anyway, that's my opinion. So let's get this put back together here. Roll this up. Make us some room. because the next thing that's going to happen, I'm going to change timelines on you again. And let me just roll this down here so we can see that doesn't need. So the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to take out this adjustment layer here that's doing nothing other than just labeling things. That's a great trick. I will definitely be using that when things get complicated. I've got that coming up project for you that's got some more than a couple of cuts to it. So that's going to be great. So that we're going to take our B-roll and our interview and we're going to compact everything together so that we can see what needs to be color corrected. So when we do that, we come up here to this timeline and boom, we have everything. All of our stuff is now on one level with the exception of the graphics. And we'll get to that here in just a little. And in fact, that was made in Fusion and we're going to talk about that. I want to show you that. So, but first, I'm just going to talk to you about the coloring here. Let's go over to the color tab, color page here, and I've got things all set up for you. And let's get here. We're on our first thing. He didn't actually edit this one first. What he did do is he edited this one first. And I don't think this was much. Let me look here. There was some gain that he added to this and some color. Looks like he took some blue out of it. And he did the color balance with this. We come down here, he put a little bit of gamma into it. The lift pretty much stayed onto its own. Let's look at the vector scope. Let's look at the parade here. And so when he took that little bit of blue out, he raised this up, fixed his color problem, and with the gain here, that must have been a pretty dark picture. It was dark, as a matter of fact. And that all shows up here on this node. So when it came time to do the other ones here, he basically just highlighted these guys here, and then came to this one and hit the middle mouse wheel, which transfers this color correction over here onto the rest of those clips. And pretty much the same for this. He was edited this one first and then came over here, highlighted that guy, came back to this one, and then hit the middle mouse wheel. And as we go up here and we look in the light box, oh, that reminds me, before we do that. So you see this here, there's a couple of things here. There's 3 nodes here. So when I turn this one off and on, watch his face. Okay. So he sized that up a little bit. And when I turn this one off and on, watch his face. So he has come over here to and made himself a power circle and done some editing within the power circle. And the further you bring these out, the softer it is. Anyway, worth talking about for a second. So we can come back out of that. Wheels. How do we get this off of here? Okay, there we go. And we just come back over here to the regular color wheels. All right, so that was an interesting thing to know. This was a tough one to color correct. 2, I believe, had some lifting problems. And it appears maybe it wasn't such a bad thing to color correct. Primary balance, saturation, hue, and luma mix. No big deal. Let's go down a little bit further. These were really dark and required a little bit of mix in there. The house was a tough one, if I remember correct. Or not. It had to have been color correction. No. Let's look at the house. So our offset stayed the same. Our gain was raised quite a bit. Our gamma was raised and our lift was dropped. So if you look at the parade on the house here, maybe the blue could have come up a little bit more to get this sky a little bit more realistic. No big deal though. These 2 here were edited off of these 2 over here. highlight and clip the metal mouse wheel. She was individually color corrected, I believe. Yes, she was. Again with the power circle. Very nice. I'll get that out of there just so you can see the. So we did not only edited her face, we kind of fixed some of it in the background as well. Click on the number. Yeah. So they brought some contrast up on that. That's a nice edit. Okay. Any rate, you guys get the idea. I can go on like this all day. I just love the color correction. It's just, and for somebody with my personality, it likes to uh, spend some time on things. This is one that's kind of a minute to learn and a lifetime to perfect. Okay, so we're over here. What else did we do that was lots and lots of fun? So we've color corrected, we've got our music done. One last thing we got to do. We got to come back over here to our graphic. And we got to highlight it, and we're going to come over here to the Fusion page. And my gosh, there's a lot of stuff on this here. Then there's some innovative stuff. Even though I spent, 2 or 3 weeks doing the Fusion with the low post guys, it was incredibly thorough. If you ask me, I learned a lot from that. Fusion is one of those things that you can do just about anything with. You can make everything from signs to lightsabers. But this is the first time I've seen a couple of things done and explained this way. The first of which I'm just going to start over here, using our left side. This is what we used for a background. This is just kind of an off-white color. And then once we came up here, we added a paper texture to it, which came with the footage of this class. So let's add the paper texture to it just so that we can see what we're working with. Okay, just a crumpled piece of paper with a couple of creases in it. Then we came over here to the title. I'll show that here. I've got mail and courier so that it looks like a typewriter. It's also a take on the You've Got Mail movie, circa 25 years ago or thereabouts. And then the subtext is special because here in the subtext, this was, as we come down to the right on, you see this little guy here? Yeah, I don't know if it's at any rate on this here, when I play this, you see there at the beginning, I guess I wasn't right on it. It will type it out. What would have been cool is to move that a little bit more slowly, I think. That's just me. So up here back in the paper texture thing, why is this being hooked up to 2 areas? Well, it's because we're using it in 2 areas, right? So if we come over here and play the play out, let's just finish this out. You're going to see a sheet of paper taken off the top in the beginning, which kind of covers up the fact that you bothered to do this. Maybe would have started this a little bit after the sheet of paper comes off, a little bit more slowly. Doing things in half seconds sometimes looks rushed, which this does to my mind, but it's a great concept. So we're not only using the paper to print on, we're using the paper to pull away from the top. Hence the 2 lines going into a merge node, which, by the way, I learned something new. So, for example, instead of having to come over here and add a merge node every time you need one, if you need to add something, if, for example, I want to do some more text, I just drag it down just to get ready to do some text. If I take it and I hook it up from there to there, boom, look what I get. Automatically get a merge node into. Okay. I think that's going to be another one of these little tips and tidbits of time-saving wondrousness. Okay, so let's not forget a couple other things about the merge nodes. That every bit of things, for example, making title bigger here was done up here in the title itself. Or did we make any changes down here? We might have. If we wanted to, we could have applied some different modes of mixing, dissolve screens, things like that. Just left it normal. The other thing is here is the blend mode. Blend is to DaVinci like opacity is to Adobe. And everything's done right to left downstream from beginning to end. I also learned that you can just start right out, and if you know, we're not working from any footage here. We started with a manufactured background on there on the FX page, and which is a no-brainer. I think you can just come to it. I'll show it to you in a little. So this is a standalone deal here. It can be taken out and saved if you wanted to. Yeah, which would be a neat thing. So merge over here. Did we do anything special? Looks like we moved it down off the center a little bit before we came over here, and we didn't blend anything. This is the top sheet. This is the bottom sheet. It gets moved off of. We had to have animated it off of there somehow. Yeah. Okay, so there's a little blend on this one, the front one here. So we did blend this a little bit. I'm just showing this. You can see this. This light means it's on over here. So there was some blending going on. That nice. And I think there's a pull away too. I don't see my orange triangle though. Get up here. Well, neither here nor there. We'll work on that. That's all for another day. I think we more than covered that pretty well. Okay, so I think the last thing I want to do here is I want to put my little changes into this here just so that that touches that. And just so that we can see this coming off over here. See what that looks like. Maybe just a little bit less. If I'd have had my way too, the last thing you would have heard as he was walking off would have been a cough, just to be kind of like that. All right, so I would like to play this from the beginning, full screen. Let's go. I may kibitz a little bit through this, kind of channeling my inner Mystery Science Theater guys. I should build a template for that down here. Just so whenever I review something for my teachers, I have the Mystery Science Theater guys. Okay, talking too much. Here we go.
So these ones I got probably about 10 years or so ago. They're pretty good. Then I upgraded to these ones, which are all right. They're decent. They're a little soft though. They don't have the arch support that I'm used to. These are my bread and butter. Bread, butter. And sometimes if I'm feeling, you know, a little adventurous, I'll go with the flip-flops. You know, it's something I've always been interested in. I've been doing it for so long that it's almost like second nature to me. I love it. It's what I live for.
My name is Barry. I'm 39 years old, and I am a postal retrieval enthusiast.
If this kind of thing didn't exist, I would probably end up inventing it, because it's become so much of who I am now that I would just end up doing it anyway, if it didn't exist. Yeah, I work from home now, so I don't get out much, ever. This is basically all the exercise I get. Oh, definitely. Over the years, I've been getting better and better, for sure. I've seen some incredible improvements. I'm training every day. I can see some real progress, especially from just last year.
I don't know what he's training for. I really just want him to get the mail.
Love that Jake cut.
I've actually started looking into one of those chambers that the climbers use to change their blood oxygen levels. The hypervolemic chamber. I'll have to run it by the wife first. She's a little hesitant on it, but I think with the improvements that we've been seeing, I think it'd be a good thing.
He gets it very promptly every day. We never miss a day. I can always count on him to get it.
I think this is gonna be a good one. Well, like my dad always said, if there's something worth doing, then I probably need to do it.
Color correction. Awkward.
So. We got a big coupon book. There's something for you. Bill. Another bill. That's it.
And the bird singing there in the end. Okay, guys. Well, that's me done with this. And the next time you'll see me, we'll be doing the making of my final video, which I'm going to show first. Then my little video has got some motorcycles in it. It's got some very trick editing with multiple cameras and some color correcting on a beautiful day on a motorcycle ride, narrated with some special sound effects done, which allows me to narrate over one of the largest motorcycles made at 60 miles an hour, just like I'm talking to you right now, except with a little wind noise and some bird noise in the background. Very cool. All right. Well, that's all for now. Thanks a lot. And I sure appreciate your patience with me. Have a good day.